Hi there guys, welcome to Freehand Architecture. Let's talk about basic Photoshop graphics. So what do we have here? This is basically a simple facade. Doesn't look like too much right now, but if I just go and add a layer, you can obviously see the line drawing, okay? So Photoshop is really simple if you know how to draw. If you don't know how to draw, I really don't recommend you start with Photoshop. There are a couple of techniques, things that you could kind of guess, like let's say you get, I don't know, it's like a multiple step process, right? And you connect the dots, something like this. Maybe let's make these dots bigger. 1 second. I'm doing this. There's multiple dots, right, connecting different stages. At a certain point, you can go and hand in, or like deadline, right? This way, right? If you know how to draw, you'll navigate through all these stages really easily. If you don't, then it's still good. It's still going to work for you, but you are going to get, I don't know, inconsistent results. It's like something's always going to be missing from, how you see the world. Regardless, let's go for a solution. So not just a suggestion of what you could do, but actually a solution. So this is a simple facade, right, of a building. It's like it's a hotel converted from basically standard social housing. Something I studied, and this is what one of my students designed, okay, as in graphics, okay, with the type of graphics she added. Keep in mind, this is something that's been done like in an hour, okay, from zero. So how do you get from this, yeah, to this? It's quite simple. Obviously, you have the drawing, and I'll just go through the separate points and elements piece by piece. I'd indicate that you take notes for this, okay? So number one, you want to start with windows, okay? Just to color the windows. You do this by basically selecting, right, the rectangles that form these windows, okay? Very simple stuff. Just do a mouse selection, you create a new layer. Obviously, when you're starting off, you are going to be a bit messy, right? You create a lot of layers. It's not going to be as organized as you'd like it to be. That's fine, okay? So we are going to create new layers and then add, so that's number one. And then add, right, with the paint bucket tool, some rectangles. Number two, we are going to go for the cast shadows. Probably cover this in one of the lessons in my course, like where I go in detail and finish everything, the complete workflow. Right, if you zoom in, you'll see that these cast L shadows, right, obviously make a huge difference. You want to have shadows for facades. They make your drawings really jump off the page, right? And again, because these facades they look good as a line drawing itself, right? When that happens, it's quite easy to add, basically to add the graphics on top. So basically I created this L shape and duplicated the layer, then obviously filled everything up with it, okay? Again, simple stuff. Number three, the curtain wall, right? This is a curtain wall. So what you know about curtain walls is that they're made out of a different type of glass. So this means it's a special glass that probably could reflect. So in this case, I went for number four first, which would be the background. Again, standard background off the internet. Just do a simple Google search. You'll find some clouds. These could be used as a DSLR, as a what's it called, HDR map, right, for any renders. But you can also use them as, obviously, understanding the principle that you create a material that reflects. You just basically copy it and match it on top of the curtain wall itself, right? Maybe with a lesser intensity and maybe with a bit of a colored gradient to it, okay, or like a hue change or something. If you don't know what that is, you can add one of these bad boy layers, switch on the colorize, and you can basically colorize everything, okay. And with the help of a layer mask, you can, let's say I just want this to be colored. Actually no, let's just go for this. Obviously create a mask. What? No, it's not good. You just invert everything. No, not good again. Control Shift I and then Control I, right? So what did I do? I inverted the the mask first, and then I inverted the thing. Okay, so it's got like a different color to it right now. Okay. After you're done with that, obviously you want to finish the number 5. 1 second. Brush. Just go on a different layer. A layer. Number 5, which would be the balconies here. If you could zoom in, you see that they're inclined, and then they've got a small little patch of a window here. Right. Obviously you do these with a gradient and a simple layer, and then you duplicate it and put it everywhere. Right. Layer on layer on layer, right? That's how you get like this thing. You could use number 6, a texture. You could just go and Google again a tileable brick texture, double it, like double the layer with Control J, boom, 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 right? And then match it together so it forms a large surface. Select the thing here, select the facade, probably the magic wand. Well, no. Would be the best for this. No, it's not working. Just go on the right layer. Okay. Magic wand again. Really simple selection. Go to a new layer. I'll just add a paint bucket effect, right? So you got the texture on top of the selection. Obviously, if you've got a texture, use the selection for a mask. Okay. Let's go back a bit. Alright, so you got the texture here. Number 7, you could add a bit of entourage, some trees. Again, trees work very well with these cast shadows, so this is basically the offset of a tree. I don't have any handy right now, so I'll just improvise. Just create a layer here. Let me see if I can use one of these weird brushes to mimic a tree. Again, if you're good at drawing, this is very easy. If you're not, this is not going to make sense, even if you try, okay? Not trying to put, your ambitions down, right? Just telling you how it is. Your choice if you take the feedback on board or not. So just doubling this, putting it behind the other layer, and now going for a lightness. This is not looking like a proper tree. Let me just get back. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, need to go for something standard. 1 second. Let's draw the tree stump here. It's just like, just love improvising. Increase the maybe something like this, like a little tree with branches. Okay, let's just erase all of this stuff. What? Not working? No. Come on, man. Erase a bit of this. Just looks a bit more like a tree. Damn, this ruined the whole drawing. Because I really need to focus on this, right? So basically, when you're drawing this by hand, it's much easier. This is kind of a standard silhouette for a little tree. Okay. Double. Oh, 3, double it. This is so nice. Merged everything now. Never mind, this is Photoshop. You'll keep making mistakes, especially when you're doing things on the spot. It's just what it is, okay? It's fine. I'll just go for like a offset. So, yeah, this is a nightmare. So if you're adding like another little tree here, so let's say, I'm going to have an offset cast shadow. I'm just painting through this. Just use this to delete, right? Because the shadows again are at a 45-degree angle. And obviously, when you have a shadow falling like this, you could use all sorts of techniques. You could maybe color here a bit more. So you make the shadow look a bit transparent, so it's like, you see it's starting to feel, right? Like a cast shadow. Let's just go for like a 8 intensity. No, never mind, let's go for full. So like when the shadow is falling on the millions here, like the shadow gets a bit darker. Hopefully that makes sense. So look from a distance, it looks like it's basically falling with a bit of transparency. And again, we can go for a bit more transparency. Right, well, if this isn't like you imagined it. Nope. That's the intensity brush. So it falls, hopefully you feel this, right? It's a shadow falling on a, right? And again, if you want realistic stuff, you need, 1 second. You kind of need to use these types of like standard trees. I think immediateentourage.com is a very good website where you can get these you can sign up and get the free trees, right? You can download a couple of these trees and you can use them. Ideally, you get the ones which already have transparency, right? So you don't need to do the selection. Because when you have to do the selection, you need to be very careful so you don't get this white edge around them. Okay, and just one more thing that my student kind of missed. She forgot to add the cast shadow. The ground line. Yeah. Right? Because you do want this. You do want this type of graphics, right? And this is a standard technique. Okay, everything here is just standard. You'll use it. It's going to work most of the time. So quick recap: import the drawings. Start with the facade drawings. Start with drawing the windows, coloring the windows. Then go for number 2, which would be the cast shadows. Number 3 would be adding a texture, just reflecting on the on basically the curtain wall. Then number 4, add a sky. Number 5, go for the different graphics here for the with the small gradient and the paint bucket tool, right, for the curved balconies. Then number 6, add the texture on the right hand side facade. You can go for another texture for this one here. Again, this is graphics. It's going to make sense if you know 100%. It's going to make sense if you know how to draw already, and if you basically can go and after knowing how to draw, being able to design a good-looking drawing. Okay, because if you know how to draw, then you know how to design, and then you know just graphics just naturally come from your good drawings. Okay, and your good designs. Cool. Talk to you soon.